On the day Liam said we would get our marriage license, I waited outside the Civil Affairs Bureau until dark. Finally, shivering from the cold, I called him. A burst of laughter erupted from the other end of the line. I told you Chloe would wait all day. Pay up, pay up. Liam chuckled along. All right, Chloe, it was just a bet. You can go home now. I hung up, stunned. Looking up, I saw a strikingly handsome stranger smiling at me. Want to get married, miss? We can go in and get the license right now. I hesitated for 2 seconds, then whispered, okay, Liam. I sniffled, my nose running from the cold. Are you done yet? If you don't come soon, we won't be able to get it done today. Chloe. There was a moment of silence on Liam's end. Then he asked, what time did you say you arrived? 9 o'clock, I said, glancing at my watch, trying not to make him feel guilty. It's okay. I've already filled out the forms for both of us. You just need to. I was cut off by a cheer from the other end of the line. 6 hours. I told you Chloe would obediently wait for 6 hours. Pay up, pay up. Hurry, Liam. A sense of unease crept into my heart. What are you doing? Liam's voice, laced with a smile, came through. We're just making a little bet. It's nothing. You should go home early. A bet. I froze, my body stiff. I stammered, so, are we still getting the license today? Liam must have had me on speaker. The roar of laughter from his side drilled into my ears, making me want to crawl into a hole from embarrassment. Liam chuckled along. Come on, Chloe, be realistic. Be a good girl and go home. Don't make a scene. My nose stung. You're really not coming. The only answer was the dial tone. I wiped away my tears, no longer caring if I smudged my carefully applied makeup. Just then, a smiling voice sounded in front of me. Want to get married, miss? We can go in and get the license right now. I looked up, confused, and met a pair of smiling, almond-shaped eyes. The man in front of me was wearing a leather jacket, his hands tucked into the pockets of his jeans, leaning down slightly to look at me. What do you mean? I blushed. I'm an introvert and have always disliked interacting with strangers. Even after being with Liam for so long, I still felt awkward and wanted to curl my toes into the ground whenever I saw his friends. I got stood up, and you got stood up, the handsome young man said with a smile. We're both pitiful souls. Why don't we keep each other company? I lowered my head, seriously considering the possibility. My grandmother's health was getting worse by the day. I didn't know if she would make it through the winter. Thinking of the smile lines that had appeared on her face when she heard I was getting my marriage license, my heart ached again. I looked up and replied, okay, since Liam didn't want to marry me anyway, it didn't matter who I married. The man in front of me seemed not to have expected me to agree so readily. He was stunned for a moment. Okay. He ran a hand through his hair and pulled a document from the briefcase held by the man beside him. Then, you should sign this first. Only then did I notice he had company. The first page of the document had several large words written on it. Prenuptial agreement. I flipped directly to the last page and was about to sign my name when he stopped me. Hey, you. Aren't you going to read it before you sign? I lowered my eyes. Does it say you'll use me for your own amusement against my will? No. Does it stipulate that I have to unconditionally cooperate in marital life? No. It's mainly about, then it's fine. I said in a low voice and signed my name without hesitation. It couldn't be worse than being with Liam. From the time I graduated from college until now, I had been with Liam for a full 6 years. The first time I saw him, I was a junior in college. My roommate, who played Age of Heroes, insisted on dragging me to a small tournament our school was hosting. Chloe, you have no idea how handsome Eric is. He's the most promising contestant to win this competition. You have to come with me. At that time, Liam hadn't yet returned to his family to become a young master. He was a rising star in the esports world. After the competition, the host randomly selected audience members for an interactive session. And somehow, I was chosen. Which contestant's performance impressed you the most today? I blushed and stammered. Eric, I guess, because my roommate had only told me about him. I couldn't name a single one of the other 7 contestants. And why did he impress you? He's handsome. A friendly laugh erupted from the audience, pushing the atmosphere to a climax. Liam, who was wearing headphones, had been drinking water. He stopped abruptly at my words, put down his cup in surprise, looked at me, and then broke into a brilliant smile. The stage lights happened to be shining on him from behind, so bright it was dizzying. The noisy venue fell silent. I could only hear my own heart, thumping, so fast. A few days later, their team had another qualifying match. They actually sent me a few tickets. In the friends and family section, along with the tickets was a note with just 5 words. Watch carefully this time. After the match, I went to the players' lounge to see him and handed him a gift box. This is a mouse pad with a wrist rest. You use the mouse for a long time, so your wrist might get uncomfortable. I quickly glanced up at him, but the smile on his lips made my heart race. Thank you for inviting our dorm to watch the match. My roommates all really like you. Your roommates like me, huh? I was a little confused by the question and looked up at him. I saw a mischievous smile on the young man's lips, his eyes sparkling with starlight. So you don't like me? I looked into his eyes and felt as if I had been bewitched. I do. Who wouldn't like such a dazzling and bright young man? Liam nodded in satisfaction, took my phone, tapped it a few times, and handed it back to me. Then he tapped my forehead with his finger. Go back. Remember to reply to my messages. I blushed as I looked at the contact name he had just entered into my phone. I thought to myself, Liam is a much better name than Eric. Although Liam's base was in a city, the qualifying matches were held all over the country. Our school only hosted a few of them, so he flew off soon after, but he messaged me every day, without fail. When Liam was competing in Chongqing, he complained to me that the food there was too spicy. He didn't dare to eat much, afraid of getting sick and affecting his performance. I asked for his address and secretly ordered him some milk tea and fried chicken before his livestream that night, leaving a message. Eat well to have the strength to compete. Go for it. The next morning, I saw his reply. It was delicious. Thank you, Chloe. I happily buried my head in my pillow and giggled, my heart feeling full. Later, he went to Xi'an. He told me there was a lot of delicious food and sent me pictures of every meal. A table full of various snacks. I saw them in the middle of the night and my mouth watered. I joked with him. Eric, it's not moral to post food porn in the middle of the night. Liam replied quickly this time, and even sent a voice message. I, like a thief, secretly put on my headphones, pulled the bed curtain, and pressed play. I heard his smiling voice. Don't worry, I'll be responsible for you. 3 days later, I received a large box of specialties from Xi'an. Inside was a small note. Here to be responsible. On the day of my senior year graduation, when Liam stood under my dormitory building with 99 white roses, I had already planned out our marriage, down to having 2 children. But now, looking at the red marriage certificate in my hand, I was surprised to find that I was calm and composed about the fact that my husband was not Liam. Let's add each other on WeChat, I said, holding out my QR code. My name is Chloe. You can. I know, the young man said, his eyes curving into a smile. He sent me his name. I saw it when I was filling out the form. It's a beautiful name. My name is Julian. I got stood up today, but my family is really rushing me. Thank you so much. Julian gave a bitter smile and took a ring box from his pocket. You can have this for now. I looked at the exquisitely cut pear-shaped diamond and sighed inwardly, feeling sorry for the girl who, for whatever reason, hadn't shown up. Also, Julian smiled after seeing me accept the ring. My family situation is a little complicated. I might need you to cooperate and meet my parents later. I shook my head. It's okay. In a couple of months, I might have to trouble you to come home with me too. My grandmother has always wanted to see her granddaughter. In-law. Of course, Julian said with a smiling nod. Also, although we have a contractual marriage, we're family now. You can come to me if you need anything. The word, family, struck a chord with me, and my expression softened. Okay, back at my apartment. I looked at the mess I had left behind in my haste to get ready this morning and sighed. Starting to clean up, just as I lifted my foot, I stepped on something. Looking down, I saw it was the first necklace Liam had given me. It had somehow broken this morning. I was in a hurry, afraid of keeping Liam waiting, so I had only glanced at it and hadn't picked it up. Now it seemed like a sign. Perhaps my fate with Liam was meant to end today. Liam was a top esports player when he was competing, and now he was the favored young master of the Jiang family. Why on earth did I believe he would be willing to marry a nobody like me? Tears rolled down my cheeks, falling onto the necklace he had given me. Liam's call came at that moment. His voice was muffled and unclear. Chloe, I'm not feeling well. Bring me another bowl of that porridge. Sister-in-law. Someone else took the phone. Liam is drunk and has a headache. Can you bring that porridge you made before and pick him up? I let out a small laugh. The porridge I brought him was different every time, but no one had ever noticed. I was about to refuse, but then I saw some of the things I had just packed and thought it would be better to return them to him in person. Send me the address. I'm on my way. When I arrived, Liam seemed to be in better spirits. He was leaning back on a single sofa, his eyes closed, Liam. I called out to him softly. The man's tired gaze fell on me. Come here and give me a hug. He held out an arm to me. A low cheer went up in the room. Come on, Liam. You've shown off enough for today. That's enough. I pursed my lips. Liam, you stood me up. And now you want me to come and give you a hug. He let out a small laugh and looked at me leisurely. What? Are you angry? Come on. Last time we were drinking and playing truth or dare. I lost. So I called and told you about getting the license. It was just for a laugh. With all my brothers. Come here. Let your husband give you a hug. It was always like this. I lowered my head, fighting back the tears that were welling up in my eyes. At a party, he would say I played the pipa and ask me to perform for everyone. At dinner, he would say I was too boring and ask me to tell a joke to liven things up. Even when they didn't know what to play for truth or dare, they would use me as a pawn. Liam. I held out the bag in my hand and said in a low voice, don't call me that anymore. I'm married. What? Just then, someone had knocked over a glass, and the sound had drowned out my voice. Liam dug at his ear and frowned at me. Chloe, can you not always be like a quail? Speak up. So I raised my voice. I said, I'm married. The previously noisy room suddenly fell silent. Everyone's eyes were on me, and the atmosphere instantly became tense. Liam's face was dark, and he stared at me. After a long while, he sneered. Fine, Chloe, you've got a temper now. You've grown bold. No. I shook my head and held out the bag again. These are the things you gave me before. I've packed them all up. See if anything is missing. I'll mail it to you. We shouldn't see each other anymore. To avoid any misunderstandings. Goodbye, Liam. I forced a smile that was uglier than crying, turned, and pulled open the door to the room. Tears streamed down my face uncontrollably. The room was deathly quiet. Looking at Liam's ashen face, no one dared to speak. Scarlett, why don't you go and see what's wrong with Chloe? Aaron said, nudging his girlfriend. Tell her not to be angry, and to come back and talk to Liam. Liam said nothing about this suggestion, but in his heart, he hoped someone would bring Chloe back to him. He knew he had gone a little too far with the joke this time. He would have someone pick out a nice bag for her, and he would say a few nice things, and Chloe's anger would dissipate. She was always like that with him, so soft, and she couldn't stay angry for long. I think we should forget it, Scarlett said, swirling the red wine in her glass. Didn't anyone see the ring on Chloe's left hand? I told you guys not to make such a bet. Now you've scared her off. Liam will have to go and chase her himself. A ring. Liam felt a rush of heat to his head. He picked up a bottle of wine from the table and smashed it, sneering. Fine. So she's trying to force a marriage. She even bought a ring. Chloe's personality had been spoiled by him. To think she would dare to use a lie to pressure him, to make him lose face in front of his friends. Fine. He clenched his fists, his thumb rubbing against his knuckles. She wants to make a clean break. Right. Let's see how long she can last. The next morning, I woke up to a message from Scarlett, saying that Liam had thrown a huge tantrum after I left. I replied with a smiley face. It has nothing to do with me anyway. Scarlett and I were different in personality and family background. It was a wonder we had become friends. Perhaps it was because we were both victims, forced to accompany our boyfriends to their gatherings. Are you really determined this time? Scarlett asked me. Yes. I typed lightly on my phone. Didn't you also advise me before that Liam was not a good person? Scarlett sent a goofy face emoji. I'm rooting for you. Give Liam a good scare this time. When you really find someone to marry, I'll give you a big red envelope. I covered my eyes and let out a muffled laugh. Sure enough, even Scarlett didn't believe I had really found someone to marry. No wonder Liam was so angry yesterday. He probably thought I was playing games too. My phone beeped again. I looked down and saw it was a message from Liam. Come and pack up your things from my house, Chloe. If you want to make a break, make it a clean one. I still had a lot of clothes at Liam's house. Every time he took me back, Liam would try to take me to bed. Actually, I was a little resistant to doing that before marriage, but Liam had a high libido, and I genuinely wanted to be his wife. Slowly, I had left more and more things at his house. Now that we had broken up, it was better to take them back. After all, I wasn't like these young masters and misses who could just throw things away. Liam's house was in a high-end villa district in a city. The ride-sharing car I had called couldn't get in. I'm sorry, Miss Chloe, the guard said apologetically. Mr. Jiang just said that no unauthorized vehicles are allowed to enter. Only you can go in. I nodded and said it was okay, got out of the car, and walked in slowly. When Liam was unhappy, he also liked to make others unhappy. Once, I had asked him to come home with me, but he was unwilling. Finally, After I had said too much and he found me annoying, he had also left me at the entrance to the villa district. I had walked for over 20 minutes to get home. He was leaning against the car, smoking and waiting for me. When he saw my red, tear-filled eyes, he raised his eyebrows. Calm down now, still want to make a scene? I bit my lip and shook my head. The moment he pulled me into his arms, I couldn't help but sob, my hands clutching his shirt tightly. Can you, please, not leave me? Okay, I won't leave you, he said, smoothing my wind-blown hair and kissing my forehead. Be a good girl, Chloe. I'll always be with you. Fortunately, Liam hadn't gotten so angry that he had changed the password to his house. I pressed a couple of buttons, and the door opened with a beep, but the moment I stepped inside, I gasped in shock. Liam was cornering a pretty young woman against the dining table, his right hand gently lifting her hair, a faint smile on his lips as he leaned in towards her cheek. The young woman was facing me. She was also startled to see me and quickly pushed Liam away, blushing, and I, who had thought my heart would instantly crumple in pain, was now beating steadily and strongly, without a single ripple. It was quite strange. I subconsciously rubbed the ring on my left hand. The moment I fell for Liam was very sudden, but it seemed that losing him was also very fast. Sorry to intrude, I said, lowering my head so I wouldn't have to look at them. I'm just going upstairs to pack my things. I'll be quick. But I had barely been in the bedroom for 2 minutes when Liam followed me in, staring at the expression on my face. My mom sent someone over as soon as she heard we had a fight yesterday. I let out a soft, Liam's mother didn't like me and often introduced him to pretty girls. Then you two should get along well. Don't make her sad. The light in front of me suddenly dimmed. Liam leaned down to look at me, his eyes full of pressure. Chloe, I'm giving you one last chance. Beg me now, and you'll still be the only girlfriend I have. And, didn't you want to get married? Propose to me. Do you have to wait for me to make the first move for everything? He had forgotten that I had already proposed twice. Once, when we were watching fireworks, I had secretly snuggled up to him and asked, but got no answer. The other time, I had even bought a ring, but he had stopped me before I could open it, saying in a low voice, "Come on, Chloe, don't do something so embarrassing, put it away." And now, he was asking me to propose for a third time, but I was already tired of proposing. I fastened the buckle on my suitcase. I've taken all my things. If there's anything else I've forgotten, just throw it away. Thank you for your trouble, Chloe. Liam chased after me, breathless, and cornered me outside the gate, unable to move. Am I giving you too much face this time? How much of a scene are you going to make? A little tantrum is fine, but are you really going to make such a big deal out of a joke? Did you see this, Liam? I held up my left hand and showed him the ring on my ring finger. I told you, I got married yesterday. He sneered. Come on, Chloe, don't fool yourself with a fake ring. Who do you think you are? You think someone will marry you just by standing at the Civil Affairs Bureau? Liam gripped my wrist tightly and wouldn't let go. I was so anxious I was on the verge of tears. Liam, I'm really married. Let go of me. The next second, a figure flashed in front of me, and Liam's grip on my hand suddenly loosened. Under the influence of inertia, I fell to the side, but landed in a soft embrace. Looking at the familiar almond-shaped eyes, I was stunned for a moment. Julian. The usually smiling Julian now had a dark expression, his eyes sharp as he stared at Liam. Stay away from her. Liam wiped a scratch on his cheek from a tree branch and sneered at him. Julian, are you trying to steal my woman? Your woman. Julian raised an eyebrow, took a red booklet from his inner jacket pocket, opened it, and held it out. See this. Name, Julian. Wife, Chloe. Then he grabbed my left hand and showed it to him. This ring just arrived from Paris last week. He then put his arm around my shoulder and pulled me tightly into his embrace. I should be the one asking you, Mr. Jiang, what are you doing? Blocking my wife in broad daylight. Liam's pupils widened, and his usually arrogant eyes now held a trace of panic. Chloe, what does he mean? It's just as he said. I lowered my head. Liam, I told you yesterday, I got my license. You. Liam's chest heaved. Are you trying to get back at me? You're getting back at me for standing you up. So you just found some random person to get a license with. Do you think this Julian is any good? Do you know why he's looking for someone to marry? It's because his father's illegitimate son is about to come knocking. He can only inherit the family fortune after he gets married. Chloe, can you use your brain? Are you that desperate for a man that you'll just pounce on anyone? Julian suddenly let go of me, grabbed Liam's collar, and punched him hard, instantly swelling a part of his face. Liam was stunned for a moment, then quickly turned to fight back. The two of them started to brawl. I rushed forward and held on to Julian, leaving my back to Liam. Stop fighting. Liam's heart tightened at the sight of Chloe's back. He quickly extended his left hand to stop his half-swung punch. Looking at the trembling person in front of him, he felt a mix of emotions. His little girl. Why had she run into someone else's arms? Feeling the quietness behind me, I gently patted Julian and said in a low voice, "Get up." The previously ferocious Julian obediently stood up, but still shielded me, looking at the person on the ground coldly. Liam. I looked at him, my eyes devoid of joy or sorrow. I married him willingly. You've always known that my grandmother is seriously ill, and her only wish is to see her granddaughter. In-law. You didn't want to marry me, so I had to find another way. It was me who was overconfident before, always having unrealistic fantasies. This is for the best now. Let's end it here. I wanted to pull Julian away, but he stood still, looking at Liam's hurt eyes, and added with a grin, "Next time Mr. Jiang wants to marry someone, don't make them wait at the Civil Affairs Bureau all day. A cute girl like Chloe is easy to be snatched away." After saying that, he supported my hand and walked back slowly. After a few steps, he stopped again and showed a malicious smile. "Oh, I forgot. Mr. Jiang probably won't be able to find a girl as cute as Chloe in this lifetime." Hearing this, Liam's pupils, which were staring at Chloe's back, suddenly contracted, and an unprecedented panic arose in his heart. He felt that this time, he might really lose Chloe. Julian took me to a villa, which was even more luxurious than Liam's, and even had an outdoor swimming pool in the backyard. I hesitated for a moment, but still asked, "Are you very rich?" Julian grinned, but it pulled at the cut on his lip, and he grimaced. "Ouch, just a little bit rich." I was amused by him and laughed. "Will it cause you trouble, Chloe?" Julian saw me laugh and put away his playful expression, looking at me seriously. No, I said, suddenly feeling a little nervous being stared at by him. I won't ask you for anything, don't worry." "Oh, right," I suddenly remembered. "Didn't we also sign a prenuptial agreement?" But Julian suddenly sighed, reached out his hand, and gently brushed the back of my hand, which had been reddened by Liam's grip, muttering, "If I had known it was you, I wouldn't have signed it." He had lowered his head too much, and I couldn't hear him clearly. "What did you say?" I said. Julian looked up, his usual demeanor returning. "Your hand is also injured. Let me help you apply some medicine." I watched Julian, who was engrossed in applying medicine to me, and was a little lost in thought. It wasn't a big injury, but he applied it so carefully, as if he were holding something fragile. Finally, he looked up at me, his eyes gentle. "Chloe, are you free to come home with me for dinner this weekend?" I was taken aback for a moment. Then I remembered what Liam had just said and immediately reacted. "Sure, but will your family think I'm just an ordinary person, like Liam's parents?" But Julian smiled nonchalantly and told me that his grandmother's only requirement for his spouse was that he bring a girl home. I have a friend who never got married. Later, he brought a girlfriend home, and his parents were shocked. Since then, my grandmother has been on edge, afraid that I would bring a boy home one day. I tried to hold back my laughter and nodded. "What about your parents? What kind of gift should I bring?" Julian was silent for a moment. "My dad is abroad all year round. My mom divorced him when I was very young, and I haven't seen them much either. Don't worry, as long as my grandmother likes you, that's enough." What a poor child. Looking at the downcast Julian, I couldn't help but think of my dog at home when it had done something wrong. Its head hanging low, I couldn't help but ruffle his hair with my hand. "Don't be sad. I'll help you now. After all, your things won't be snatched away by others." "No, it's not all because of that. Julian was at a loss for words. After all, he had indeed wanted to find someone to get a license with for the sake of the inheritance. It was just that he was lucky enough to run into Chloe. Julian didn't lie to me. His grandmother was so happy when she saw the marriage certificate that she kept calling me baby, grandma. Julian sidled up to her. "What's wrong with you?" "I've already agreed with Chloe that only I can call her baby." Julian's grandmother laughed and patted his back. "You brat. You're jealous of me now. You've been hiding her so well. You're only bringing her to see me now." "Chloe." Julian's grandmother held my hand. "How long have you two been together?" I was at a loss and looked up. Julian hadn't given me a script, so I could only be vague. A long time. It's been 5 years, Grandma." Julian took over. "At that time, you had kicked me out. My dad didn't care about me, and my mom didn't either. I couldn't even get a decent meal." He deliberately put on a pitiful look. "Chloe saw how pitiful I was and ordered me some takeout. That was the best meal I had ever had. From then on, I swore to bring her home and cook for her for the rest of my life. Looking at the laughing Julian's grandmother, I couldn't help but twitch my lips. Julian was really good at making up stories. He seemed to have a lot of experience in fake marriages. As we were chatting happily, I suddenly received a call from my mom. We usually just sent WeChat messages. A call like this could only mean one thing. My heart immediately leaped into my throat. I fumbled to answer. Hello, Mom. What's wrong? Is it Grandma, Chloe? My mom's voice was very low. Why didn't you tell me your boyfriend was coming? Why did you let him come alone? My boyfriend, I gasped. Mom, did he say what his name was? What's wrong with you, girl? Isn't that the little Jiang you're always talking about? Hey, he's here. I'll be right there. Mom, who's calling you? A bad feeling suddenly rose in my heart. Chloe, you have to come back quickly, my mom said hurriedly. He got your grandmother into a high-end ward and found some expert. Now the hospital director is even here to see her. Okay, Mom is going over now. You have to buy a ticket for today and come back. Julian insisted on going home with me, but I stopped him. Grandma just said that your brother is a tiger watching his prey, I said, patting his arm reassuringly. You take care of your business. I'll be back soon. Julian gripped my sleeve and wouldn't let go, looking wronged. You're not going to cry to Liam and then come back and divorce me, are you? No, I said with a small laugh. I was born in the year of the horse. I don't eat the grass I passed over. I rushed to the hospital. It was already late at night. Grandma was already asleep. After confirming that she hadn't been upset by Liam today, I was relieved. After reassuring my parents, I took a taxi directly to the hotel where Liam was staying. When I knocked on the door, he had an expected smile on his face, without a trace of surprise. You rushed over so late. You must be tired, baby. He tried to pull me into his arms as he used to, but I took a step back and dodged him. Liam, I looked at him quietly. If the Jiang family has too much money and doesn't know where to spend it, you can go and throw it on the street. Liam let out a low laugh. What are you talking about? I'm just showing my filial piety to Grandma. Don't make me sound like a spoiled brat. What do you want? I was so angry my throat tightened. Liam, you were the one who didn't want to marry me, and now you're the one who's pestering me. I'm not a young girl anymore. I can't play games with you. I've already gotten a license with someone else. I'm begging you, please let me go. A license? With Julian. Liam's eyes turned red, and he pinned me against the wall with one hand. Do you think you'll have a peaceful life with Julian? Do you know how difficult his stepmother is? His girlfriend knew to run away in advance. But you're so foolish you're jumping into a fire pit. As he spoke, he opened his phone and swiped through something. Look, this was 3 days before you got your license. He was still flirting with another girl. This girl is his childhood sweetheart. Do you really think he's fallen for you? Don't be foolish, Chloe. No one will be as good to you as I am. On the phone Liam held up was a picture of Julian with a pretty girl. The girl seemed to be angry and was about to turn and leave, but there was a faint smile on her lips. Julian, on the other hand, was smiling and pulling her hand from behind, as if he wanted to say something. So this was the owner of the ring. My hand subconsciously touched the diamond ring on my left hand, although I had long known that Julian had been stood up by the person he liked. Seeing a picture of the two of them, for some reason, I felt a faint bitterness in my heart. Liam noticed my sad expression and pulled me into the room. The white bedsheets were scattered with rose petals, in the shape of a heart, and the person in front of me knelt on one knee, took a ring from his pocket, and looked at me seriously. Chloe, marry me. It was the scene I had imagined since I graduated from college, my most beautiful aspiration and most unattainable luxury for the past 6 years. But when it all really happened in front of me, I only felt tired and bored. No. I shook my head, my lips moving slightly, word by word. Liam's face changed drastically. Why, Chloe? His body trembled, and the ring fell to the floor with a clang. You've always wanted to marry me, haven't you? I lowered my head and smiled. So you've always known, but I don't want to anymore. Liam, I squatted down, picked up the ring from the floor, and gently placed it in his palm, my tone gentle. I don't love you anymore. Perhaps from the moment you threw away the ring I proposed with, I had already stopped loving you. Dragging it out until now was not because I still had feelings for you, but because I had finally freed myself from the habit of loving you. So, let me go. Chloe's voice was very gentle, but it pierced Liam's ears like a knife. He seemed to have lost a ring Chloe had given him. As a young master who had been through a lot, the moment Chloe took out that small box, he had a premonition of what she was going to say, but he always felt that the 20 6-year-old Chloe was still a little girl, and marriage was something that shouldn't be on their recent agenda, so he quickly stopped her. The little girl was a little frightened, but she still obediently handed him the box, saying nothing, only that she had bought it for him because it looked nice. A few months later, the little girl suddenly asked him why he wasn't wearing the ring. It was just a platinum ring, the diamond so small it was almost non-existent. He had glanced at it and then didn't know where he had thrown it. That was not a ring a young master like him should wear. I don't know, he said, tying his tie, casually agreeing. Maybe I lost it. He saw the light in Chloe's eyes dim for a moment, but she still obediently stood up, straightened his clothes, and gently kissed his cheek, sending him off. But it turned out that from that moment on, they could never go back. I wanted to move my grandmother back to a regular ward. The price of a high-end ward was not something our working-class family could afford, but my mother told me that my grandmother's condition had not been good recently, and such frequent moving would be bad for her health. But, I sighed, we can't afford this for too long. Who says? A smiling voice came from behind me. Julian walked into the ward, carrying large and small bags. Mom. Julian showed my mom his signature smile. I'm Julian. Chloe and I just got our license last week. I haven't had a chance to visit yet. I'm really sorry. My mom's eyes widened. A license? Chloe, didn't you say you were getting a license with little Jiang last time? On one side was the smiling Julian. On the other was my mother, who was starting to interrogate me. I gave Julian a look and then covered my face, pretending to be a quail. Anyway, he would make up a story. He was experienced. He could explain. Compared to Liam's sharper features, Julian's always smiling face was much more approachable. My mom quickly believed his story and liked him more and more. We got the license in a hurry and haven't had a chance to prepare a bride price for Chloe. Grandma asked me to bring this. Julian took out a card and handed it to my mom. There's 2 million in here. Please accept it. My mom was taken aback for a moment, but she still took the card and then put it in my hand. Since it's for Chloe, then Chloe should have it. Julian waved his hand. This is for you and Uncle. Chloe's is a separate part. I'm going to take her to get it now. I was so stunned by Julian's series of actions that it wasn't until we got in the car that I reacted. Why did you do that without discussing it with me? Isn't this helping you solve your problem? Julian turned to look at me. Now that the family's problem is solved, let's solve the problem outside. I pressed my temples, feeling a headache coming on. I deeply regretted not being able to resist Julian's coaxing last night and telling him everything Liam had done. How do you want to solve the problem outside? Thinking of the two of them brawling last time, I nervously grabbed Julian's sleeve. You can't fight. Grandma asked me a few days ago how you got hurt. I can't make up another story this time. I won't fight. Julian laughed, took a document from his bag. I brought something good. I'll show it to him later. What is it? I took it. On the cover was written, Share Transfer Agreement. I, Julian, voluntarily transfer all of my 37% of the shares of the G family to my wife, Chloe. That is, after this document takes effect, Chloe will become the largest shareholder of the G family. Are you crazy? I looked at Julian, my voice trembling slightly. Don't be afraid. Julian tucked a loose strand of my hair behind my ear. The G family is operating well. There is no risk of bankruptcy in the near future. Even if something does happen, it's written below that I will still be responsible for the responsibilities and debts. Is that what I'm talking about? I threw the document back into Julian's lap. You just got these shares, and you're just giving them to me so casually. What's the big deal? Julian lowered his head and let out a muffled laugh. I'm about to lose my wife. What do I need the company for? Don't say that. I suddenly felt a pang of sadness in my heart. We're going to get a divorce eventually. When your girlfriend figures things out and is willing to marry you, we can go and register at any time. What girlfriend? Julian asked in surprise. Sitting up straight, I pursed my lips tightly and showed him the picture Liam had sent me yesterday. Is this the girl you were originally going to get a license with? Julian opened his mouth, then closed it, and squeezed out a sound from his throat. Yes, you've known each other for many years. This ring was originally bought for her. Julian closed his eyes and sighed. Yes, then what more is there to say? I laughed, wiped the tears from the corners of my eyes, and cursed myself in my heart. Chloe, you're such a fool. You can never control your own heart. Julian took me and a unilaterally signed share transfer agreement and knocked on Liam's door. The person who had been dejected in the car suddenly became aggressive. He wrapped one arm around me and held the document up to Liam's face with the other. I hear Mr. Jiang is seducing someone's wife behind their back. You should see if you have the ability first. A share transfer agreement. Liam's face was dark. Julian, you're really willing to go all out, but so what? You think I can't afford it? Julian raised an eyebrow and held up a recording pen that had been hidden in his wide sleeve. I wonder if your grandfather will still be at ease leaving the Jiang family to you if he hears this. There's a lot going on between you and your cousin, right? Liam's face changed drastically. You tricked me. Who gave you this idea? Who gave it to me is not important. Julian sneered. If you're smart, stay away from my wife. In the elevator, Julian cursed under his breath. A coward who only dares to talk but not act. He moved closer to me, his eyes bright. Don't be afraid, Chloe. He won't dare to come looking for you again. After returning to a city, I received a box from Liam. Inside was the ring he had proposed with that night, and a card, my last gift to you. I sneered and threw the things at the door, calling a courier to return them, but he really didn't come looking for me again. Neither did Julian. The only good news was that after Liam had visited my grandmother last time, she had been so happy that her health had improved a lot. She said in a video call that she hadn't remembered the boy's face last time and asked when I could bring someone back again. I smiled and agreed, while thinking that I might have to bring someone else back next time. The day the snow in a city melted, Julian sent me a message asking if I was free to have dinner with him and a friend that night. I thought about the 8-month, valid marriage agreement and agreed. Then I put the ring he had given me in my bag, intending to return it to him. I hadn't worn it since I came back from my hometown. Julian picked me up from work. He saw my bare ring finger at a glance. Where's your ring? It's here, I said, taking the exquisite velvet box from my bag. I can return it to you this time. Julian thought for 2 seconds and took it. That's fine. It's someone else's thing anyway. It's better not to wear it. My eyes, which I had tried so hard not to let water, started to burn again. I quickly pinched myself hard and swallowed the tears back. Julian took me to a very elegant restaurant. When he pushed open the door to the private room, there were only 2 girls inside. One of them smiled and came over to pull him. I looked closely and saw that it was the girl from the photo. I suddenly felt a chill run through me and an unexpected anger. The next second, I was suppressed by the girl's sweet sister-in-law. What was going on? I looked up, confused, at Julian. Julian put on a stern face and asked, "Stand up straight, Amelia, tell me yourself, did you agree to get a license with me at that time?" The little girl immediately drooped her head. "Yes, I did, but, although I ran away, I didn't delay your business, and I even let you pick up such a beautiful sister. Shouldn't you thank me?" Julian nodded. "Fine, then tell me, why didn't you come?" Amelia looked at the tall girl behind her with a wronged expression. "Sister didn't let me go. I can't make my sister sad." "Right, you have your wife to please, and I have mine too." Huh, I widened my eyes. What was this little girl talking about? "You see, Chloe," Julian let out a sigh of relief and looked at me with a wronged expression. "I'm really innocent with her. It's just a transaction." After dinner, Julian drove me home. There was no conversation along the way, but just as I was about to turn and go upstairs, he called out to me, "Chloe, you were suspicious because of that photo, but the other person in the photo was on vacation abroad at that time. I was afraid my explanation would make you even more upset. Although I was a bit of a jerk in my youth, I've never trifled with girls. I would never bring any trouble to you." I felt my throat go a little dry. "Why are you telling me this, Chloe? I don't want a contractual marriage, and I don't want to divorce you." So, he took a step back, knelt on one knee, and in his hand was a more sparkling diamond ring. "That ring was originally a reward for Amelia, although she has never seen it. It's not yours, this one. I designed it with a designer, and I spent 3 months learning to polish diamonds to make it by hand. I even engraved our names on the inside. Will you marry me?" My hand was pressed firmly against my mouth. Suppressing a sob, I said in a hoarse voice, We've already gotten a license. It's different." Julian shook his head. "Last time we got a license, the term was only 1 year. This time, I'm proposing for a lifetime. Allow me to love you for a lifetime." "Okay," I cried and nodded, watching him put the ring on my finger. The image of the lover I had hoped for in my youth gradually became clear, and it became the person in front of me. I hate that we didn't meet before I was married. Julian had been pampered since he was a child. He had never had to worry about anything, until he was 16, when his grandmother found out that his father had another child outside. The old lady, who had been a formidable figure for half her life, picked up her old skills again. She sent him abroad to study on the one hand, and dealt with his father on the other. After calculating the illegitimate son's age, she came up with a get married and start a career plan so that he could get a head start and take control of the family business. So Julian, who had been a rebellious youth, became a student tortured by various deadlines. Later, when he was 20, he returned to the country, just as the family was thinking of transforming with the rise of esports. His grandmother kicked him out to be a trainee, to let him experience the ins and outs of the gaming industry firsthand. He knew that the world was cruel, but he didn't expect it to be this cruel. What kind of hard life was this trainee living? Once, during a competition, he didn't like the lunchbox provided and didn't eat a single bite. He was lying in the lounge, his stomach churning, when a girl wearing a mask suddenly came in. "Ah, I'm sorry," she said, holding a lunchbox in her hand. "I'm in the wrong room. Do you know where Eric is? How could a star player like that be in the same lounge as a substitute?" He pointed to the side, but his eyes were drawn to the aroma of the lunchbox. "Miss," Julian swallowed, "which takeout is this from? Can you recommend it to me?" "Huh," the girl laughed. "I made it. I just happened to make too much today. You can have this one." So Julian, who had been abroad for 4 years and had been a trainee for half a year, felt that he had eaten the most delicious meal of his life. Liam was so lucky, he thought with a huff. His family paved the way for him, and he had fans who brought him food. Later, he found out that she wasn't a fan, but Liam's girlfriend. No matter where they competed, the girl would accompany him, rain or shine. Julian felt a little sour in his heart, thinking that it would be nice if someone could be so good to him too. He would sometimes hear Liam arguing with her in the next lounge. The little girl wouldn't talk back, just listen quietly, and would sob softly when she was upset. But as soon as Liam hugged her and called her Chloe a couple of times, she would be fine again. Later, he shamefully found that his heart would itch when the little girl smiled and called out, "Liam." She was really as soft as a willow catkin, Julian thought, but after all, she was someone else's girlfriend. He could only sigh with regret and suppress his feelings. Deciding to just find someone to marry and focus on his career, he was quite happy when he got the license with Chloe, thinking that now he had his own Chloe too, until he saw Liam at his door, seemingly having a breakup with his girlfriend. He rushed over, thinking his chance had come. It wasn't until the person fell into his arms that he realized that this seemed to be his Chloe. The willow catkin he had coveted for so long had finally, after many twists and turns, fallen into his embrace.